this maybe since October, all the workshop, if I have time, I really love to join. So I want to learn a lot of stuff. Yeah,
Yes.
since I joined the other workshop too and learn a lot of useful stuff. So yeah, that's why I say, yeah, if I have time.
So I would say I'm going to screen share and bring the presentation up. And please, if you have questions as we're going through, feel free to jump in,
Okay.
ask questions. It's just you and I right now. So I'm going to
Okay.
go ahead and start the slideshow here. So, of course, I want to acknowledge that, this is put on by Dell Technologies and the OECM in partnership with ALP. And we always want to recognize those traditional lands. And I'm in Michigan, in case you didn't know. So in Michigan, we also recognize 12 federally recognized Native nations. So I just wanted to give honor to our indigenous individuals and communities. We want to just remind you, and this is really important because we are going into data tonight, right? This disclaimer is so key when we look at integrating AI and bringing AI into our learning communities. We want to make sure, and you said the school board, right? Make sure your local school board has determined if these tools are appropriate for use, talking with your administration to make sure we're not getting into an area that hasn't been approved.
Yeah.
Just with that, is your district pretty, have they integrated AI? Are they pretty progressive?
I haven't yet. Yeah, the AI still maybe new.
Okay. Yeah, and it's for a lot of people. I think now we're finally getting to the point where we are able to uh, get into administrators, right? They're learning about it, starting to holistically put plans and look at a whole district and then moving down into teachers. So that's really the next iteration of this, actually giving instruction and helping others understand how to use it down to the teacher level. So my name is Madeline Black. This is my email. My phone number is right there if you ever want to call me. I don't have a problem picking up the phone. And I want to be here to help individuals such as yourself strive and reach that full potential. And that's what you want to do. And tonight we're going to talk about how AI can can enhance your instructional leadership.
Okay.
Now, for outcomes we really want to talk about, we want to identify like what are those key areas where administration can use data, AI with data. Was it budget decisions, strategic planning? What is it? How are you going to use it? And then interpret. How can we use those to really dig into the data, maybe at a faster pace than we normally would, or either a deeper, give it a deeper lens than we normally might have time for? And also explore. We're going to explore a little bit tonight, look at some different things that we can do to impact student outcomes. And then we want to evaluate and talk a little bit about some of the benefits and challenges to doing this because it's not all benefits. You have to be very careful. We're going to spend quite a bit of time tonight talking about how to be careful. Let me move this off the screen here. So what is Gen AI? I've included these slides in all our presentations just to make sure we all understand that it's basically a machine. It's all the knowledge on the internet that's been out there. It's a combination of human creation, right? But it uses that to create new content, audio, code, images. It's taking all of that information and we're able to harness it and query it in different ways and actually talk with it. And I want to bring that out that's the difference between something like Google and doing a search on a Google bar. This is more intuitive. You're talking to like a personal assistant. So it's really conversation going back and forth and digging deeper versus Google is like to get an article or to get one simple answer. Does that make sense?
Yes.
Okay. Now, what is ChatGPT? Generative is a pre-trained transformer. AI is generating, is creating. That's what we wanted to do. You hear things about, we'll talk about, AI, generative AI tonight, particularly can hallucinate, make things up. And you're going to hear me repeat this a lot. Yes, it may make things up, but that's kind of what we wanted to do in a sense of be creative. We are the human. We cannot get out of this equation. We have to verify data. We have to make sure it's accurate because it can make things up, which is a plus, but also a caution. And then, we say pre-trained, right? We have some that have been taught that we can use some chat bots, some different things like you heard Magic School, School AI. It's different applications that kind of uh, put a layer over generative AI. It's like giving us some guardrails. And then transformer. It means in simple terms that it can specify AI architecture that it can understand our text. So really the transformer and generative, pre-trained, all these things work together to really give us that generative AI. Now, let's look specifically at data needs. Now, this says that what is AI's data needs? What does it need to work with that data? It's going to need to have that sensitive data sometimes. Student messages, attendance records, all these, even biometric details. I didn't show the video tonight, but in China, they have this band that students walk into school with. And this band actually tells when they're, engaged, how their brain is firing based on different levels. And all that data is being analyzed for the teacher right there on the spot. So that's that's really deep. Have you heard of that?
No, the first time. I kind of worry, is it concern about the privacy?
Yes,
Because
yes. And how do I say your first name?
you can call me Jade.
Jade. Okay, so
Yeah.
Jade, yes, if sometime tonight I'll share you that video so you can see what that looks like. It's very, I mean, it looks very useful, but then there's also some implications there.
Okay.
All right, so the critical question of today is how do we balance this data dependency with the imperative to protect student privacy? It's a tough question. Yeah, AI can right now, we can put all our test scores, all our student data, dump it in there. But what about our privacy laws? Do people want that information out there? Here in the US, we have something called FERPA. I know in Canada, you don't have the same equivalent, but you do have laws and things that guard privacy. So we got to balance this out. And we must proceed with caution. We're going to look at each one of these areas and we have a little conversation because you really have to, these are the things we must proceed with. We need to understand the applicable laws, we need to vet technology, prepare for breaches. All these things, it takes a lot to prepare for this particular part of AI. So for you, I know you're new to this, but do you have any concerns when it comes to safeguarding student data and other sensitive information within your schools? And how, if so, how do you currently address those?
Yeah, just like I said before, I kind of worry about the students' privacy. And I don't know, it seems sometimes because I kind of old school person,
Mhm.
sometimes I just worry about some if hacker had the school system, everything, it seems a lot of information about student or their parents stuff or just leak out. It seems that's yeah, that kind of
Yeah.
worry.
Yeah, and here in the US, I don't know how litigation works there, but here there's been big lawsuits and people have been hijacked for information, data breaches, all of these things. So that's when we're trying to protect the information. Now we're talking about giving it away to use it. So how do we carefully and cautiously use AI to help us with data? So I have a little conversation game to play, try to query ourselves here. I won't make it too tough on you, Jade, because you're the only one here. So, but here's one thing we need to look at. We need to look at cost and resource challenges. So the risk inherently is, the initial implementation of an AI system is a significant financial investment. What precautions should we take when we're investing that type of money, would you imagine?
Wow.
And you can leave your mic on for this part because we're just going to have a conversation.
Okay. Uh, well, I use AI too. Wow, this also new for me. I
Yeah.
never think about we can use the AI system to help us about the financial
Yeah,
investment. So
yeah, but it's a significant financial investment, so be cautious. I don't, and recently on the news, a lot of people, I've heard news of uh companies just disappearing overnight. People have
wow.
invested in some of these AI technologies that came out really quickly, and what happens is they go bankrupt. They don't have the money or the basis to continue, and now you've built an infrastructure around a technology that is an application that's no longer in business. So you want to be cautious with how much you're investing up front and what you're investing in. And that's why,
Sometimes,
go ahead,
yeah.
go ahead.
Sometimes I just kind of wonder how to do can be considered as caution, and then where we can verify this kind of company, make
Mhm.
sure they are reliable and they can we can
Yeah.
trust them.
Well, right now to me, it's like the Wild Wild West in the sense of people are trying to get there first. So many people are doing that. That's why if you well, you might not know this because you're new to AI. A lot of the programs sit on top of applications like ChatGPT, right?
Yeah.
They just housed on top of it. They've created some chat bots and an interface that's pulling from ChatGPT. So what we're going to do tonight is we're going to get a little opportunity to look at ChatGPT. There's some other ones, of course, that you could use Gemini and different things of that nature, Copilot. But to learn how to use that's not going out of business.
Okay.
All right, so we want to be cautious with that. And AI can probably help us, with budgets and things of that nature. Now, another thing is privacy and security. It has these access to this sensitive student information. So we talked about this a little bit. What is a precaution? The district got all this data uh, all squared away, and then they're gonna upload it before they into the AI platform and ensure compliance with. And I left a blank there because you have to check your applicable laws and secure encryption methods, with your tech people to make sure the data that if you do choose to share data that's very sensitive, the protections around it have to be rock solid. Now, another one, bias. This is where, requires access to sensitive student information, creating a risk of data breaches. Now, when we talk about bias in AI, what comes to mind? Have you heard anything about that?
Um, yeah, I heard some about the buyers but I'm not quite
Yeah,
really
yeah.
clear about yeah, the AI buyers.
Oh, so basically, what the bias is saying is that it is actually going in and say, it may target certain students based on their data. You upload this data, and then it starts calling, maybe putting students in categories that you may not want them in, such as at risk, different things of that nature. And then the data too that you put in could be biased data. So it's how you're training it. So you want to be very careful about bias. And then the next one is about data accuracy and quality. Errors or gaps in attendance for grade data could lead to incorrect predictions. So, like you said, if you have the wrong attendance information or your data isn't exactly accurate, it could lead to some miscommunications. So the staff needs to validate the data checks, right, to ensure the information was accurate. Because in schools, you're putting information is prone to human error. So you want to make sure you have strong data. And that takes the human. That's not an AI thing. Here's a big one. I'll let you take a stab at this one here. Teachers might rely solely on AI predictions without considering their own observation and professional judgment. What precautions should you think there? What's the risk in that?
I think if teacher design, lesson plan, everything just depend on AI, they don't know in real life the student, because they have different level, different understanding, maybe language different, everything is it's hard for AI to know all the students' situation.
Yes, yes. And it should be a supplementary tool as well, right? So if I'm a teacher and I say, okay, I would like to have a lesson plan, I would like to have an article, it's supplementary. You have to validate the findings. There was a situation where two lawyers asked AI for case law, so they can use it in court. And what happened was AI, as we talked about at the beginning of this webinar, it does hallucinate and make up things. We That's one of the things we like about it. It's very creative. But it made up false case law. And these
Oh.
lawyers actually used that made up case law.
Oh.
They did not verify it. And you can take a guess at what happened to those two lawyers. They were disbarred. All of that work because they didn't verify. So teachers we have to make sure they're not just, over relying on it.
Yeah,
And just
because now there are so many misinformation or disinformation online. And then, yeah, so I think AI just sometimes they collect the data or information just from the web,
mhm.
and then they create their own. So sometimes, yeah, you need to verify.
Yes, and that hits back on the bias, right? Because we don't know if it's working on some biased data to create something. And then remember, it's taking all of the information for the last, I think ChatGPT 4 is maybe a year behind. So it's taking all of that. And all of that we know. You said it very clear, Jay. Some of it's made up. Some of it's, it's false. Some of it's you know, all type of people's information are all type of things, right? Everyone, all the information on the internet, as we know, is not reliable.
Yeah. So nowadays when I check news online, sometimes I just don't know which one is really really real.
Yes, you have to check from a verified source. Absolutely. Yes, you need two or three to be sure. Now, another one is ethical concerns. I talked a little bit about this, by labeling students at risk, stigmatizing students. So you want to make sure that we're keeping these results confidential and, only sharing them with the directors directly involved when we're creating plans and things. So if we're looking at some student data, it should stay within that circle, uh, even, when we're using AI. Now, you will receive a copy of this presentation. I'm not going to go into these articles. This is just to say research and read. This one article I shared, when you take a look at it after this presentation, how a school in Austin is using data, and I'll share with you, and you have a copy of this presentation when we leave this evening. How's it using to track student data? This is a success story in a sense of they're implementing it, right? You can see, you could go to that district, we could do follow-up. And then also another one here is it's about privacy risk, right? It's telling you about the data breaches, while safeguards are needed. So this is more of a precautionary. So I gave you one is like, yay, one is like, ooh, be careful. So it gives you a couple things to look at. Now, have you heard any stories in the news that you want to share that may relate tonight to AI, either a success or a caution?
Uh, last night I just scanned the news. I didn't go into the chat really careful. Just talk about Chat GPT o1. It seems it want to cheat the researcher.
Mm,
So it kind of raise some concern about, say, now AI is so smart, it just want to outsmart people right now.
yeah.
So it must be used them really cautious. And yeah, but I didn't go into to check really carefully, but that kind of stuff. Yeah, sometimes I think everything have two sides. AI may ask life maybe you know uh save us time or help us work made the workload easier, but
Mhm.
also you need to take the risk.
Right, exactly. And that's what this is about, especially when we're talking about data. Now, I apologize. I need to find the resource for these charts. I put it in here, but then I forgot to note the resource. But this is just a sample of some something a school district took, right? They surveyed some parents and teachers. And I was really shocked when we talk about the privacy regulations. Well, and in the US, we have something called FERPA, right? You know, how many parents know about this? I've heard about it, but I don't know. No. Student privacy pledge, no. Common sense media score, all these things shows that um, there's work to be done. Have you undergone any trainings on how to ensure the tool is safe and for data practices? Do you have those safe data practices? 83% say no. So we're already in a situation where we need more training on what the safeguards are. Now we're in a really precarious situation where AI is very tempting for people to jump into. And if we don't put those guardrails up for our teachers and administrators, especially in our schools, a lot of trouble can ensue. It's more than just having a data wall up in your school and in a data wall, showing test scores. And someone said, hey, you shouldn't have that student information up there. That's someone walking in the school. That's in the US, that's not okay to have student identifiable information like that. But now we're talking about putting it out on the web to try to be helpful, but it can have a reverse effect. So now we're going to do a little bit of talking and prompting. Any questions about before we move on to the next part though, about just the privacy and the cautions that you like to share?
Uh, yeah, I wondered if you can provide more example about the AI bias because yeah.
You mean the
Yes.
bias?
Yeah, the AI bias. Can you make some provide more example and then I can understand more about this.
Okay, so when we talk about AI bias, okay, so AI is trained on information. So sometimes you may get applications or chatbots or different things that put together that are trained. So AI can't do anything without the information to
Okay.
use. So I'll give you an example. In ChatGPT, there's an option in other large language models, that's what they're called, where you can upload documents to it and say,
Okay.
this is your brain. This is what I'm giving you, AI.
Okay.
Now, I want you to tell me how you feel about humans. So if I were to upload information from someone who didn't like maybe a particular group of people, for
Okay.
example, or someone who maybe has a certain political um, persuasion, they're with a certain political party, and I'm putting everything positive for that. Everything positive for these things. So then I put that out to someone and they use one of these chat bots and they say, hey, tell me, how is this particular group? Are they a good group of people? Or how is this policy that they're pushing? Is it good? So all AI is going to do is look at the information you trained it with, that you gave it.
Oh, okay.
So not
Yeah.
no, that's a bad group. No, stay away. Oh,
Okay. Okay. Now I understand.
yes. So you have to be careful about what the data is trained on because that's the micro. I gave it what to look at. But when we look at ChatGPT, it's taking everything out that's on the internet. And we know there's some things out there that are not good. So
Yeah.
we have to this is perfect because we're getting into prompting. And prompting is where you have the conversation with the AI. And depending on your prompts, you can weed out some of that bias from a large language model that has everything. For example, another example would be in ChatGPT, there's something called Dahlia that generates images, right?
Yeah.
It makes pictures. So if I say, give me a picture of uh, teachers who are excellent working with a group of students, right? And it generates the picture and it's all one ethnicity. Maybe it's all,
Okay.
all I don't want to say Anglo-Saxon white men or
I understand
like
what you're saying.
yes,
Yeah.
and, and I'm like, wait. So now I want to prompt because now I have to be intentional. Why did they give it to me that way first? When I said give me excellent teachers, why did they choose all one that looked a certain way?
Yeah.
Hmm. But I could go in and query a little bit more and say, no. Give me some diversity in here.
Yeah.
But if you didn't have that skill, you may be prone to bias. Got it?
Okay. Yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
Thank you. Yeah.
You're
Now I
welcome.
totally understand now.
Okay, no problem. Okay, so now we're going to talk and prompt a bit. So these generative AI discussions, excuse me 1 second. Just 1 second. I have to, my little dog is scratching at the door. 1
Okay.
second. Okay, I'm back. I have a little dog that could be very persistent.
Okay.
Okay, so we're gonna so this now do you have an AI do you have a chat GPT or open AI account?
Yeah, I have a ChatGPT.
So you might want to open it up in the background. We're not gonna, as you might want to try some of the things we're doing. It's not required, but you might want to have it open to try a couple things.
Okay, let me see.
Hmm.
Okay. Yeah.
Okay, here we go. All right. So first thing we want to talk about, we talked about some of these things earlier, but now let's take some examples of how ChatGPT could be used to do some of these things. So we look at budgeting. So we're going to talk about this prompt and ask a question for you. How would you modify it? So it says we want to formulate a budget. So I would say I'm going to put this in the chat, or you can type it out and say, you want to outline a yearly budget considering educational materials, teacher salaries, and maintenance costs. So if we just start at a basic level like that, and now see if I can go ahead and
Okay, so just
yep,
type out all the
just
words here.
yep,
Okay.
yep, yep. And I want to find the chat here. Next time I'll do this, I'll probably have a little sheet I can share where you could cut and paste easily. And just see what you get back. And then we want to practice like how would you modify this? As you're typing this, let your brain ruminate around what specific things once you get this would you add to it to make it more specific to your need.
Okay. So sometimes the EA the AI what they will pop out also rely on what you
Mm-hmm.
what you write in the prompt.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, wait. Yeah, already.
Okay. And what did you get back?
It outline revenue sources, expenses, educational materials, and maintain courses. Yeah, they all lay out. They provide a really detailed outline here.
Yeah, and that's just a very basic outline. So, like, if you wanted to add something, you could say, for example, let's try this. What's one thing you could say? We have 21 teachers, or I don't know how many teachers in your district, if you know, and the average salary is boom, boom. We have this much money. What's a good average salary based on, you know, what Canadian teachers normally make, right? So try one query, add something to it in your, just imagine that you had a situation and let me know what you ask it.
So I based on the prompt you gave me, and then I add more detail on it, or
Mhm. Yeah, add more detail. Like, so they gave you the basic budget, but what other things could you ask? Because I want you to get used to ChatGPT as a conversation. So,
okay.
what if, we're suffering with we only have a 20 million dollar budget or a $2 million budget. Where would you allocate funds? just some question to have it go a little bit deeper. And take your time. We're in no rush. We got plenty of time.
I feel such an honor, only you and me.
Yeah, this is great. I love it. And by all means, feel free to, if you don't want it to be about schools, this is about learning. But you got to be careful with your data. But you can make up, hey, you can make it personalized. It doesn't know who you are. You didn't put your name. You can
Yeah,
say,
okay.
I've used it for my budget. I have this much money for groceries this week. And this is the type of diet that I want to have. What would you recommend? What do you think the cost would be for this budget? How much should I allocate for this type of diet?
Yeah, when I just according to your suggestion before, I just typing we only have 2 million budget. What should we allocate first? And then yeah, he gave me a detailed talk about teacher salaries and educational materials. 60 of budget for the teacher salaries, and then
Okay,
20% budget for the educational materials.
yeah,
And
yeah,
then for the maintenance, 15%,
awesome, awesome.
5%, yeah, for the fund. Yeah, kind of, yeah, get more detail here.
Yeah, and so and it doesn't stop there. And if you as you because are you part of the school board?
Yeah.
Okay, so I can tell you this in the US, and you can confirm all of my school budgets are online. They have to be public facing. So it's not like I'm putting something there that's not already available online. ChatGPT already has it. Is that the same in Canada?
Uh, I'm not quite sure because I just new to the board.
Okay. Well, as
So,
a board member, you can, once you find that out, I'm sure it's probably public information. I can't imagine that it's
okay.
not. As a school board member, and when you can take a public document that's online, put it in ChatGPT and say, because you're new to the school board, right?
Yeah.
How about you put it in there if it's public facing and say, analyze this budget. Is this a solid budget? Where do you see places for improvement?
Okay, yeah, maybe after a meeting with you, I will try to find about our school board yeah, because now sometimes when I chat with the other teacher told me for the class a lot of learning material, the teacher need to purchase them
Yeah,
because
themselves. Yeah.
yeah. So how about in USA also the same?
Yeah, sometimes they do. So, how's that budget being used? And as a board member, sometimes it's hard. You get these, meetings, you might see the finance. Here in the US, we might see the finance documents. We see all these things, and I really don't understand it, how to make sense out of it, right?
Yeah,
If it's, again, we want to be careful. If that's already published on the school website, like, for example, you are in what district?
a limestone.
Limestone. You can query really quick on the internet, the limestone school budget for the year. Why don't you take a minute and try?
Okay.
Plenty of time. You could go right to the internet and query and see if see the budget. And do you have the paid version of ChatGPT?
No.
Okay, because with the paid version, if it's out there, it may find last year's budget.
Okay. Last year.
I mean, you can try it even before you search on the internet. Try this. Go into your chat and just put in your school district and say, based on public uh budget documents for my school district, can you give me a summary of of how our budget is being used? Something of that nature. See if it's out there already. I've done this before with school board members, and they were shocked.
Oh,
Yeah,
yeah.
yep.
Okay.
So I'll give you time to play a little bit.
Okay.
I'm gonna stop share
You know,
form.
before I thought this Google Meet also just only, I didn't know you from USA. I thought it's in Canada.
Yeah, you got a guest tonight.
Yeah.
It's international call.
Yeah, that's
Um,
that's great. We can learn
yeah,
each other everything, the information.
absolutely. I'm pulling up my chat GPT here. Okay. It's all
Yeah, so sometimes as a supply teacher, go to different classroom, you will see they have different learning material. Some class, maybe if the teacher, they spend more money to purchase the learning material, the kids will have more thing to play with, to manipulate with. But some classroom just, oh, yeah, really.
because their teacher may not have it to be able to, it's inequity. It's not equitable. But what about the what's next? Can you put your district, spell it in the chat for me?
Okay. Can you see it?
Yeah. Yep, I got it. Thank you. Limestone School Board. Oh, okay. Oh, I didn't mean to put it in that one. All right, please create a summary.
So your ChatGPT is the paid version?
It is.
Okay.
So right now, searching the web. I'm gonna share this with you. Ready? Very funny. Let's see here. So if I go here, this is my chat GPT, you should see it. I put in this search. I said, please create a summary for the Limestone School District Board based on their most recent budget. Okay. And look what it did. The Limestone School Board has approved a balanced budget of 328 million. Right? It's giving us the information. The majority of the budget is allocated to student instruction. Look at that information. Now, is it correct? This is going back to our data. We have to verify, but isn't that interesting? Oh, here's the source right there. There's the sources it used. You see this, Jay?
Oh, sorry, I didn't know I mute.
Oh, that's okay. I said, wow, she must have passed out. It was so great, the information.
Uh,
But you see, right, that
yeah,
it was already, I didn't even have to go outside of ChatGPT, and they even told me this is what the information is based on, right?
yeah, yeah. Yeah, from our school board, the website, they add the information, the source.
There you go. And then, so as a board member, you can even dive deeper into some of these things and begin to query. And this is not a data concern because it's already out there on the internet.
Okay.
Okay, any questions about this so you can use this for strategic planning, basically.
Yeah.
We're gonna go into that next. So I'm gonna open up the presentation again, share my screen. And here we go. The next one is here, we did formulating the budget, but strategic planning. So we could design your own prompts, but think about this. I'm going to set the tone for you. Your school is facing challenges in recruiting qualified teachers. And I know this is a fact in Canada because I recently worked with a group of principals over there. I don't know in your school district, but it's a tough one right now finding teachers and retaining staff. How could
Yeah.
the AI tool assist you? What data could you use? So let's think about that. How could AI tools assist you? What data could you use when you want to look at teacher retention? What do you think you might want to put in AI to kind of analyze?
Mm, maybe you find available teachers.
Mm-hmm. Could. I mean, I guess it could look online and see what teachers are out there. That's one way to find it. Um, if people have profiles out there, you could. I wonder, why don't you? So it's really, I want you to get AI first to kind of prompt. So try that idea. Open up a window and give that one a try. I'll try here. You create a list. I don't know. I've never tried this one before. Of
Now I realize I need to learn how to write prompt.
Yes, that's what this is. It's called prompt engineering. How do you talk to the chat? So many classes are available, some free. So it can't do that. It says I can't create a list of teachers in Canada looking for a job. That require that's what it says. Here you go. As that will require access to private information, which is not ethical or permissible.
Okay.
There we go. I guide you. So it did tell me some great websites like Indeed, Work Populous, Glassdoor. It gave me, let me share so you can see here what it gave
Oh,
me.
Glassdoor, yeah.
Yep.
I heard that a lot.
Yes. So if we go over here to here, it says, well, I can't give you that information. We could say, well, can you provide information on which of these sites have the best results for finding and hiring teachers? A terrible speller. I gotta go back and fix it. When I'm typing, I have to, it makes it easy for you teachers, and it's cost efficient. Okay, so let me fix my little spelling here. Um, and you notice I said, well, can you provide, right? That's a conversation. That's different than just, you can have a conversation with, the AI. You could go back and forth. Okay. To officially find hired teachers, consider the following platforms: Job Bank, Indeed Canada. So it's giving us some information so we can go deeper and deeper. Now, what's some other data that we might use? Why don't we query ChatGPT? Why don't you ask it the question, how could AI tools assist me? What data would you use? Let's see what answers we get. So, how could AI tools assist in this process? And what data could I use to support finding teachers and retaining them? Okay, give it a whirl there. Huh. Okay, candidate screening. Okay. Oh, look at that. AI integration can automatically scan resumes for specific skills. Now, let's see, Jay. This is
Yeah.
a impromptu quiz. What might be we need to be cautious of when we do something like this here? Number
Okay.
2. What could creep in? The $1 million question. I bet you know. We talked about it earlier. Think about the dangerousness. AI-driven application track can automatically scan resumes for specific skills, qualifications, and experience. What could be dangerous there?
Privacy,
Mm,
bias.
yeah,
Okay. Yeah.
A
Yeah.
real life example. It was a company where they were trying to fill a position for over a year. They had a whole HR department.
Okay.
Okay. They could never fill the position. All these people there, they were using a tool like this to scan resumes. And they were
Oh,
ruling people out based on something in a prompt that they gave.
okay.
They
Okay.
had built in some bias and it was not picking anybody. They never did the human part.
Oh,
So that's could be very dangerous on how you do the prompt because it can rule out a whole group of people.
yes.
Yep. So talent matching. So you see some different, things you can do. Now, another type of data that I can think about for this might be let's see here. Oh, I'm sorry, I wasn't sharing. I don't think I ever clicked it. So here it is, what it came up with. Sorry about that.
It's okay.
Yeah, so it was like, so I asked that prompt and it said job posting, candidate screening, and this is what I was talking about.
Okay.
AI driven application. So you did pretty good because you can see exactly what I was saying. So kudos.
Yeah. Yeah.
Scan resumes, right? So that's something we want to be careful. Yes, it's a value, but it's also a caution.
Yes.
And then you know what? You could even, if you do exit interviews on your teachers, you have all these exit interviews sitting in a drawer somewhere. If you take off the people's names, if the district doesn't mind, you got to be safe. Maybe they don't want their exit interviews out there for people to see because now it's on the internet. People might know negative reasons why people aren't coming there. But you could run it and see why are people leaving, and take all that data and look at it. But again, you have to be, cautious with something like that.
Yeah.
Okay, let's move on to another one. Any questions about this one before we move on, though?
No.
Okay. Next one, and I'm gonna give you some sample results here. Actually, make sure I'm screen. Yep, I'm sharing. Okay. What do you see on the screen? Do you see my data-driven conversation on the screen? Is it
I see the chat GPT. You
okay?
shared the chat GPT.
Okay, so let me get out of there, and I'm gonna go back to here. Jumping around here. Okay, we're back in the presentation. So, what are some compelling ways to present a case study on the impact of a program? So, at school board, you're there. We see this great thing we want to buy for kids, right?
Yeah.
Alex Math is something in the US that, schools have used before to help raise math scores. But it comes at a cost. Is it worth it? Right? How do we know if it's working? Here in the US, we have the Title I programs, and I'm sure in Canada, you have to do program evaluation. Is it working? Is it worth the money in the budget? Or should we be buying something else? So we can ask it to tell us a data story about how it's working. Ask it. And so this is the prompt that I'm going to give it. Here's the prompt. What are some compelling ways to present a case study on the impact of implementing Alex Math Initiative? Prompt me for data needs, and generate a data story. So what I'm telling it to do is start asking me questions. Please ask me one question at a time and wait till I share the answer at the end, create a story. So I'm not going to have you do that. I'm going
Okay.
to share with you to show you that this work, an actual transcript that I did.
Oh,
Okay, let me make sure you can see that. I'm going to zoom in a little bit more. And actually, I can give you the link to it, but I'm just going to zoom in a little bit. So you
okay.
can see it. Let me know if you can see it if I zoom in. Can you see that?
Yeah.
Okay. So this is what I said. Same prompt. Okay. To create a compelling case study on the impact of Alex Math, they're ready to go. Here's a structured approach and prompts to gather the necessary data. So it's going to prompt for baseline metrics. These are the questions. What was the average math percentage proficiency level? What percentage of students met grade level standards before the initiative? So then, please ask me one question at a time. So I'm going to give it the data. I'm not giving it student information. I'm giving it
Okay.
holistic information in this case. So great. Let's start a step by step. Here's the first question. It's doing what I said.
Okay.
What was the average math proficiency level? Now I can enter it, right?
Yeah.
And then I even told it because I'm testing this out to see if I get what I want. Create a fictional answer for all the questions you will ask, and create a sample. It should be report for me to review. We knew what I meant. It's very smart.
Okay.
So it starts asking me these questions. So baseline metrics, average math proficiency level for Alex. It made that up for me. So 62% on standardized tests, with only 45% of students meeting grade level expectations. It gave me all these questions, implementation details. It started answering. It gave me fictional answers that I will be putting in one at a time. You understand that?
Yeah.
So then it's all done. It could have been me really putting the information in, but based on the made up information, look, it gave me a nice story. So in the we talked about using AI to help tell that data, right? How can we use it to add to data dialogue? So now we want to present to our board, oh, we want to invest more money in Alex Math, or we want to go to our principal, or we want to talk to our parents about why they should use this with their kid. Now we have a story.
Okay.
It's going to tell us about the initiative. It's going to tell us what it was doing to overcome the challenges, and here's the results. And looking ahead, you know? So there you go. That's how you could use this to evaluate programs and look at data that's able to be shared publicly. And some of this, when you're not talking about individual persons, you're really looking at the individuals, right? So, I mean, the holistic. So to me, in my mind, that's a little bit safer if you have the district permission. I want to always put that asterisk on there.
Okay.
That's pretty cool, huh?
Yes.
Okay.
Really.
Let's go back and look at the next one here. Here. Sample prompting example here, differentiation. So this is the teacher. How can teachers use this to work with data in some different ways? So what stood out to you? So I'm going to show you this other prompt, right? You don't have to do it, but just think about it. Do you see ways AI could be used in this manner with your teachers? So here's the prompt example. Start at the top. So I told it, this is prompting. I will upload a set of answers. You can read that students generated based on reading passage. Once I upload the responses, please determine each student's level of comprehension and recommend differentiated strategies to support their growth. That's a powerful prompt, right? Because as a teacher, you would love to be able to give each student what they need, to know what each student needs. You might do that through summative assessments a couple times a year, you know, the big test, but how can we make it actionable now? So I have some responses. Of course, it wouldn't be student names on it. Okay.
Okay.
I would get rid of that. So it tells me, well, great, please upload the responses and I'll analyze it. So, you know, I gave it a passage. This is the passage that I gave my students here. It's called A Walk in the Park. All right. Based on this, I upload the student responses. So this is what student A said to the question, what does Lily do every day after school? Student A says she goes to the park. Student B added a little bit more detail. Lila walks in the park and notices things like birds, squirrels, and flowers. You know, what were the volunteers doing by the large oak tree? Student A, planting flowers. Student B, they were planting flowers to create a garden near the oak tree. So what can you already see between these students, these two students, Jade?
The first one we always give really simple question. The second one gave more details.
Right.
Yeah.
So a lot of times in schools, who usually gets all of the attention when it comes to differentiation and support in a regular classroom, if you had to guess?
Yeah. Yeah.
It would be the student who's lower, right?
Yeah.
We're trying to get them up to level. And then you have students who may be accelerating, like student B, but maybe the teacher just doesn't have the time to, you know, really elevate the, you know, the strategies and learning for every student, right? Even those ones
Yeah.
doing well. So when I upload these responses, I ask it, now it's ready. I've gave it the responses. It says, based on the responses, here's an analysis of their comprehension. So here's their strengths. Student A demonstrates basic recall facts. Answers are brief, like you said. And then it gave me the areas for growth that I asked. Responses like elaboration and inference, limited ability to connect details. So, what are the strategies? Well, maybe they could use some guiding reading and discussion, vocabulary and sentence frames, graphic organizers, think, pair, share. Now, I might be a teacher who already knows this, but not have been thinking about it, or maybe it's something more I need to research, something I could work with a teacher assistant, but it's targeted now.
Yeah.
And if I need to know more, I can, research that because maybe I never even thought, oh, it's a simple graphic organizer that could help, right? I want to use a cause and effect chart, right? And matter of
Yeah.
fact, I can put in here, create a cause and effect chart for the passage I gave you. Right? I mean,
Yeah.
so that's not about data, but it would do it very simply if I put that in there. And then student B, they're telling me how good they are, the areas for growth and the higher order thinking questions. Now they need higher order thinking questions. They
Yeah.
need extension activity. Ask the students to write a journal entry as Lila, reflecting on her experiences. How simple is that? I may not even thought of that. I can have them write a journal experience, and if I don't have time, I could have ChatGPT assist me in looking at that and giving that student some feedback. While I'm working with my lower level students, I can be having this student working at a higher level
Yeah.
based on the data that I gave it from student performance.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's really helpful.
Yeah, yep. So that's how that one works, right?
Yeah.
And look, see, would you like further assist in implementing these strategies or developing specific activities? There you go.
Wow.
Create
Yeah.
that cause and effect chart. Create a journal outline. Now teachers are using that data to have impact in the classroom to things they might not have gotten to. And we didn't break any, data privacy. We didn't put student information out there or names or information.
Yeah.
Any questions about this one?
No, but I think it's really cool because they can design some maybe activities or any material for higher level kids. They can have some challenge, but for lower level kids, yeah, need more teachers assistant or help to catch up. So I think it's really cool.
Uh-oh. So there it is, cause and effect chart. Yep. So it's beginning to help them think. But okay, so let's move on to our next one. All right, so you should be back to the presentation, correct?
Yeah,
Okay.
the differentiation.
Uh, Now we're gonna move on to turning insights into impact. It's just us, we're gonna finish a little bit early tonight. I did this session usually 7 to 8, but I went to 7 to 8:30, so if we spilled over, we will have time to finish up.
Okay.
All right. So possible ways to turn insight into impact. I'm really about having an AI mindset, Jay. When you walk away from here, it sounds like you already have Chat GPT. Keep it open on your desktop. Take little things that, every day that you might do. And this is how you're going to improve your prompting by having conversations with Chat GPT. And it doesn't have to be school related.
Okay.
If you're doing an email, maybe you could say, hey, can you give me how does the tone sound with this? Can you give me some suggestions to edit this email that I'm sending out? Anytime you get ready to do something, think about getting that practice. That'll help you with your prompting. And then you can even ask it. If you write a prompt, put it in there and say, is this a strong prompt for what I'm trying to do? Or how would you suggest making this prompt better?
Wow. Even can help with the problem. Okay.
Right, right. And you just, it's about and you won't open your mind to possibilities like that unless you use it daily
Yeah.
and for other things. Like I use it in so many different ways now because I've learned to talk with it, right?
Yeah.
All right.
I before that I just know the AI generate the information we will have buyers or that kind of stuff. But tonight I learned from you even prompt can also create the buyers. So
Yes,
yeah.
yes. Be careful, yes. All right, so administrators, Think about this. They could develop targeted interventions for at-risk students based on attendance, right? But you got to be careful as a little disclaimer about who we're naming it as at risk, right? But if we have data for students or different things, we know we maybe could come up with some programs and come up with some ideas. We don't have to put the data in there to say this is what we're struggling with, right?
Yeah.
We can streamline scheduling. This is a big one. We actually had someone, they had a new they wanted to do their block schedule. Those are hard. I remember when I was a principal, the whole team would come in and be like, somebody, we need to do this many sections of English. We need to do this. This is our lunch. This is this. This is that. And now we could put in this is when school starts. This is when school ends. Please
Okay.
create a block schedule that incorporates these classes, this many breaks. There's your schedule.
Yeah.
All right. Even even when looking, you can even say on this schedule, teacher A is absent today. What should we do to modify the schedule so everyone's covered? That
Oh.
frees up a lot of principal time.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, because nowadays, if a lot of supply teacher or something, they just had the binder to look things over, what the lesson plan, anything, the material, the student information, that kind of stuff.
Yeah,
Yeah, if maybe have AI,
yeah,
the data maybe have a lot, I think.
yeah. The last one, survey results. It's anonymous surveys. Maybe you could use it to, but do you want those surveys out there, that data? So again, that's a little cautionary. All these are cautionary based on
Yeah,
what your district allows. But for teachers, we talked about this. You said that personalized lesson plans. We just saw an example of that. Include classroom management, looking at behavioral insights. How many times a day is this happening in the daytime and in the nighttime? Like you could keep a track of some information and then analyze it. When is the best time to teach math based on these behaviors I'm seeing? And then for
yeah,
students and parents, this is so key to be transparent, to let them know things, but you can use it to help maybe personalize reports for students based on data to help outline their growth, right? Actionable suggestions on how parents. So if you have students, and in that example, when we had students struggling in different areas, create a plan for each parent based on the data that we put in, based on the information we gave you. We want to come up with some customized plans for assisting kids at home and on what to assist them with. Yeah, so basically the whole point of this is to turn this insight tonight into impact. Where can you have some impact? And so I will throw it out to you. Is there any place where you think what you learned tonight that you can have some kind of impact?
yeah. But I really want to share your slides with the other teachers, and yeah.
Yeah,
I think especially the administrators should learn about this.
yeah, good. No, please share. So tonight we're going to end with what will you remember? You don't have to give me all three, but what are one if or two things? How many you want that you're going to walk away with tonight?
Um, First one is the AI can the AI's data can help the teacher make a differentiation instruction.
Uh huh.
And then the second one is yeah, I can know about my school board budget, everything on the
Yeah.
data.
Take that. You'd be the smartest person on the school board. You know all of those insights. Wow. But be transparent. They can
Yeah,
know
yeah.
too. They can know too. You can share the information.
Yes, yeah. So your recording will post online or just
Yeah, and what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna stop. Let me make sure I'm done sharing here really quick. And what I'm gonna do, they're gonna take all these presentations and send them out, but I'm going to share with you in the chat right now a copy of this presentation,
okay.
and you will have it. Ready?
So last week is your first presentation or
Oh, I had three. I had a total of three.
so this the second one or the third one?
The third one. This is the last one in the series.
Oh, because before that I have some online course. I this maybe the schedule conflict. I
Oh,
didn't know I didn't attend your first one. So I wonder if I can still get the first one, the
yeah,
presentation
yeah,
kind of
yeah.
stuff.
Hold on, let me see. I can probably grab them for you. They're gonna be placed somewhere, but let me see here. I'm gonna stop the recording right now.
Okay.